Hello and welcome back to College Algebra, MAT 150. In this lecture we will be discussing the basic operations between functions. So when I say basic, what do I mean? Well, we're talking about the basic mathematical operations, plus, minus, multiplication, and division. And as it turns out, we can do these between functions. And so like you can add two functions together, subtract them, and formally without just saying f of x plus g of x, you can actually sort of write it combined like f plus g, and you're then applying that to x, and you can do that for each one of these. So this is the this is the name, this is how it's defined. So f plus g is just adding the two functions, f minus g is just subtracting, so on and so forth. With multiplication, you could see that as just next to each other, fg, you could see a dot or a little star for multiplication. And then, of course, division. So, well, what does that mean? Well, exactly what it says it does. So let's look at this example. F of x equals 3x minus 1, and g of x equals x squared minus x minus 2. Well, f minus g of x equals f of x minus g of x. F of x is the 3x minus 1. G of x is x squared minus x minus 2. And we just simplify. So we can drop the parentheses here in front of the 3x minus 1. But for this other one, we have to distribute the negative 1 to each term here. So this becomes minus x squared plus x plus 2. And then we just simplify, we combine like terms, negative x squared, 3x and positive x is plus 4x, and then negative 1 and plus 2 is plus 1. So f minus g of x, the formula for that is minus x squared plus 4x plus 1. Fg just means multiplication, so f of x times g of x, which is just 3x minus 1 times x squared minus x minus 2. We can multiply the 3x to the x squared to the negative x, so multiply term by term, and then multiply for 3x, and then multiply the negative 1 to every term on the right. So 3x times x squared is 3x cubed. 3x times negative x is negative 3x squared. 3x times negative 2 is minus 6x. So we got these three terms for multiplying by the 3x. Then we're going to get three more. Minus x squared, negative 1 times x squared. Negative 1 times negative x is positive x. Negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. And then we just combine like terms. The negative 3x squared and the negative x squared. 3x cubed doesn't combine with anything, but we get negative 3x squared, negative x squared is negative 4x squared. Negative x, 6x, and plus x is negative 5x. Oops, there should be a squared here. Minus 5x, and then plus 2. And that's it. And this said f minus f of g. This said fg of x. This next one says ff. And it's exactly what you think. You just multiply f by itself. So this is just f of x times f of x. And what was f of x? F of x was 3x minus 1 times 3x minus 1. And just as before, we multiply it out term by term. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 1 is minus 3x. Negative 1 times 3x is minus 3x. And then negative 1 times negative 1 is plus 1. We just simplify the two middle terms because they're like. We combine them, we get 9x squared minus 6x plus 1. G over f, so number 4, we have g over f of x. And this is the same as g of x over f of x, which is exactly what you think. It's g of x, which is x squared minus x minus 2 over 3x minus 1. Not really much to simplify there, so we leave it as is. But there's other things that we can do as well, other than just dealing with the functions themselves and sort of the formula. We can actually evaluate numbers individually. And sometimes it's a good idea. Sometimes you might want to find the formula first, like for f plus g of x. And other times you might actually want to compute it without actually finding the formula. And we will do this each way. So first, so f of g is 3x plus 1. G is x squared minus 3x minus 1. So let's look at the formula first. So f plus g of x is f of x plus g of x, which is just 3x plus 1 plus x squared minus 3x minus 1, which simplifies. In this case, this doesn't always simplify this easily. By the way, since there's nothing in front, the parentheses almost just drop away. So before we cancel things out, we can just drop the parentheses first if we want. But the 3x and the minus 3x cancel, and the 1 and the minus 1 cancel. We're just left with x squared. Things don't always simplify this nice. But in this case, we have the formula. So this is f plus g of x. So what is f plus g of 6? Well, that's f plus g of 6 equals 3 squared, because that's what we got for the formula, which is just 9. And we could do the same thing for number 3. We could just plug in 1 and square it. But another way, and sometimes you may want to do it this way, especially if you don't want to go through, sometimes finding the formula could be a little bit cumbersome, especially if you just got to evaluate it once. We could do this, because remember, f plus g of x is the same as f of x plus g of x. You could evaluate it individually. F of 1 plus g of 1. Well, f of 1 is 3 times 1 plus 1. So basically we're just plugging in 1 for this. Plus g of 1 says we plug in 1 here. 1 squared minus 3 times 1 minus 1. And we get 3 plus 1. So we simplify this. That's 3 plus 1 is 4. And here we get 1 squared is 1, minus 3 times 1 is minus 3, minus 1. Inside they cancel, so what we have is 4 plus, in parentheses, we only have the negative 3, which is the same as 4 minus 3, which is 1. And which is exactly what we would expect if we just used the formula and squared it. Again, if you have a bunch of these to compute, you may want to go through the formula. But if you have just one, it might just be more beneficial just to evaluate each one and then just add them together. It just depends on the situation. That concludes this lecture.